What's your caught in a NSFW situation at work? I used to work in a call center for a major satellite TV provider. Other than the usual perv that would call to be gross, we had one dude who would call and just make us read off porno titles. What do y'all have? Backdoor sluts 9, busty blondes 2, etc. All the while he would just beat his meat to ladies reading the names of dirty movies. Towards the end of my shifts I have to clean the bathrooms. I knock on the women's room and ask if anyone is in there. With no response I walk in to clean. I find one of my women co-workers flicking her bean in the handicap stall. It was awkward, but she didn't stop. She left the job shortly after. Only got caught peripherally in this one. One of my guys assigned to one of our regional offices kept getting help requests from one clerical, and most of the problems were questionable at best. She obviously just wanted to see him. One day he gets a call and goes up to her cubicle and she's standing there with her pants off. He backed out of that, put her on his do not respond list until things could get straightened out, and then called me for help since nothing he had done was working. Since she wasn't my employee I picked up the phone and called the regional director. The initial contact was something like "Hi regional, first name basis, you know. I've always supported casual Fridays, but don't you think no pants Fridays are a little too much?" Later. Edit. Makes no difference what the woman looked like. Or the guy for that matter. Knowing the guy in question, he would have been deeply offended and upset whether she was Miss Universe or Godzilla's spawn. Simply not germane. We had another similar instance a few years later with the genders reversed. The consequences were the same. Paperwork in the file and the employee soon leaving in shame. I probably should have indicated that this was more than 3 decades ago when consequences for this sort of offensive conduct were on a different scale than now. I caught a couple of married co-workers going it in the parking lot. They're married, just not to each other. Walked into the bathroom to see 2 male co-workers looking at one of their crotches and saying, "Yeah, I'm taking you to the hospital right now." Turns out that the guy being examined was special needs and needed help knowing if he needed medical attention for a nasty skin rash. Turns out that it was just heat rash from wearing really hot clothing during the summer. I don't know if this counts, but I worked for a call center a couple years ago, and when we asked someone their name we had to say, "And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?" Well, for some F***king reason, why I have no idea, I asked the lady on the phone, "And who do I have the pleasure of sleeping with today?" The girl who sits next to me looked at me wide-eyed, and then I realized what I said and apologized profusely. The lady on the phone just started cracking up and then told me her name was Miran. Edit. To answer the important question, I'm sorry to say I did not sleep with Miran. Also, thanks for the silver kind friend. A coworker brought in a VR headset with porn on it, so even though I'm a woman and can't get my dick sucked, I got my virtual dick sucked at work. I was a janitor in college dorms. I worked with this 160-something dude with bad legs. One day my supervisor walked in on him pants down jacking it in the janitor closet. The way he tells it, they both locked eyes. Then he just turned around and left. Edit. His bad legs were irrelevant to the story. It was just a distinguishing feature. The walk-in freezer at the Papa John's in Alamogordo NM is a dirty place. I wasn't the only person busted with another pizza delivery person doing NSFW things. But the Domino's freezer in that town isn't any cleaner. Edit. Okay, so the story of this is, one of the weather forecasters at Holloman AFB met the manager of the PJs one night at a bar and ended up with a job as a delivery driver while he delivered something else to the manager on the side. We were all pretty poor in the weather shop and the shop manager okayed it, so more of us got hired delivering when we weren't forecasting. One of the delivery girls was really hot and liked me too, so that became a thing. One night, the manager and her BF were closing the shop, and my GF and I were just about to get off shift. We got back from different deliveries at the same time and got ourselves all worked up in the parking lot before we went inside to cash out. The manager was in her office, on her desk, with her boyfriend in there too, pants around his ankles. So we couldn't cash out and didn't want to go into the backseat of her Cavalier, so we went into the freezer. The manager came in about 10 minutes later and tried to pretend that she hadn't just been doing the same thing. We cashed out, went home, and had more fun while we ate some breadsticks. For a while I was sort of dating our secretary. One day after work, after everyone had gone home, she came into my office and we ended up having a great time on my desk. About halfway through I picked her up and pushed her against the glazed glass wall of my office while she was straddling me. After I got tired, she turned around facing the glass and we continued until I finished. I had forgotten about the security cameras in the hallways and entrance. About 3 days later I get to work and there is a DVD plus R on my desk with a note, "Hope you had fun," and it was of the camera that points almost directly at my office because it is on a corner. You could a lot more than I thought you could through those glazed windows. Security guys are either blackmailing me or a bro. I was at work. We were closed and I was the only one still there. We close at 2 PM and sometimes delivery guys forget and still show up to drop off packages. I had just gone to the bathroom and put a small vibrator in my panties, walked out, and the doorbell rang. Without thinking I went to the front and opened the door. I kind of froze when the delivery guy walked in and started toward the back where they usually leave the packages because I'm standing there and you can hear the buzzing. I had to follow him so that I could sign for the package once he dropped it off. I'm not sure if he heard it buzzing, but it was super quiet in there with no one around, so I'm fairly certain he did. What makes this worse is that I'm the regional director, so if he mentioned it to anyone else the next time he delivered, he would be mentioning it to my direct reports. No one ever said anything to me about it. Another time I was texting my boyfriend and one of my employees at the same time. I messaged my BF telling him I really need some dick. A couple of hours later, he hadn't responded to that particular message, so I looked at my messages to be sure I sent it and noticed it wasn't in my message history with him. Sudden realization hits, so I checked my texts with my employee and sure as ***T I had sent it to her. I immediately sent her an apology message and she responded back saying that she and her wife were at Kohl's when she got the message and that she busted out laughing and decided not to respond but to let me figure it out on my own. That I had ***KED up. Good thing she's a lesbian and not a male employee or that could have been very bad. I was having sex with my girlfriend on and around my desk on a Sunday. Office closed. And I hear the front door, which is about 20 meters around the corner from my desk, start unlocking. We both freak out. She grabs my shirt and puts it on and hides under my desk to change, leaving me to walk up to the front door shirtless while my boss walked in and explained to him that I needed a second. He waited at the front door for about 2 minutes with the biggest ***T eating grin on his face, trying not to burst out laughing as my GF came around the corner fully dressed and had me introduce her to my boss. He teased me about it for a bit, but I think he found it hilarious. Never told him I had sex on his desk, but I'll always know that there were butt cheeks on his keyboard. I was working late one night with my back then girlfriend, now wife. We were alone, and she moved her laptop to work next to me in my office. Glorified title for a slightly bigger desk facing the other desks of the team, so it was an open office with no walls. Long story short, we ended having sex over my desk, pushing papers out of the way for dramatic effect, and everything went fine. Except that a few days later my boss very casually tells me, "You know, I installed security cameras." Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.